In this video, we're going to go over the best carbohydrate sources to improve metabolic function and boost metabolism. So this is going to be an entire scientific case study on carbohydrates and how they correlate to your metabolism. So I'm going to be going through a lot of really great stuff today, and this is a very widely and popular topic on my channel that I know a lot of guys wanted me to actually cover. And so basically, we're going to be covering how do carbohydrates benefit your metabolism, what kind of carbohydrates are the best, and then I'm actually going to give you guys some active takeaways on carbohydrates you can start utilizing today to start boosting your metabolism. So stick around to the very end. So if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bunnell. I'm an online metabolic specialist, and I specialize in the manipulation of cellular metabolism through energy pathways. And I've helped almost 500 men now in the last 6 months alone get to very lean body fat compositions, eating more carbohydrates and manipulating their metabolisms through energy pathways and something called metabolic priming. And so that's currently what my company does specialize in. I work with a team of coaches under me. We have 4 expert level industry leading coaches and 6 client success representatives that are expertise in psychology and mindset. So we run a very high level program, but you know, the results do speak for themselves. And so all of these clients right here are eating more carbohydrates than they started. And I'm going to explain how. But first I want you to actually hear, we had a client come on the channel just yesterday and give a testimonial. And I want you to hear these clients that are going through our program right now. Because if you've probably been seeing us on the internet for some time now, because, you know, obviously we are one of the top upcoming online fitness programs on the internet as of right now. And I want you to hear from some of our clients and not just hear me saying my clients are eating more food and losing more weight and eating carbohydrates and losing body fat. I want you to hear from them yourself.
Bonehead, eat carbs, eat more and get the results that I want. I can't make this stuff up. It doesn't make any sense. The results speak for themselves. I'm looking better than I was in my 20s, my 30s. It was probably one of the easiest things I've ever had to do, was because I didn't have to give up anything. Walking into a room, fitting my jackets better. And if you do the program, you'll get the result. It's a fact, because you literally can see the transformation. And it's not just me, it's my brothers in this community. The transformations that go through it, that go through for some of these guys, it's amazing. You teach us the way. And like I said, I think more and more people, they see it, they're going to realize it. And you don't have to be miserable. That's the awesome part. I love what I'm going through, but to be part of this community, it's awesome.
So that was our client, John. He's an ER doctor in the program, and he has lost almost 30 pounds eating more food. So I know it seems to be unfathomable that you can eat more carbohydrates and lose weight, but I want to explain to you how. Because like John said, we run a community of men, almost 200 men right now currently in the community, and each and every single one of them are losing more weight eating more food. Okay, so here's how it works, and here's how carbohydrates benefit your metabolism on a molecular level. So carbohydrates improve your metabolism by acting like the body's primary fuel source. With the digestive process requiring energy to break down food into usable glucose, this process of digestion, absorption, and metabolism generates heat, known as the thermic effect of food, which can temporarily boost your metabolic rate. Complex carbs in particular can also support metabolism by increasing satiety and reducing cravings, helping to regulate energy balance. So when we go over into how your metabolism actually is laid out, so note that it says that your body's primary fuel source. So what is your body's primary fuel source? Your basal metabolic rate makes up 60 to 70% of how you burn calories a day. And so getting into the process of digestion and absorption generates heat, called the thermic effect of food. So the thermic effect of food is how many calories it takes your body to break down a certain macromolecule. So note that fat has a 3% thermic effect. Carbs have a 10% thermic effect. So basically, a lot of these guys who do the low-carb, ketogenic, carnivore options, and they cut carbohydrates out of their diet, and they're relying primarily on protein and fat, they are cutting themselves short in the thermic effect of food by not having carbohydrates and having a higher fat intake. Because carbohydrates have a 10 times as thermic effect of food as fats do. So when he breaks down carbohydrates supporting essential body functions by providing energy for cellular processes, the brain, and physical activity, and by acting as the primary fuel source. They also aid in preserving muscle tissue by preventing breakdown for energy, help with lipid metabolism, including dietary fiber, which is crucial for digestive health, and maintaining glucose and cholesterol levels. So note that it says that it is important for preserving muscle tissue. So what is the most metabolically active part of the human physiology? Your muscle tissues. It's most metabolically active, even over body fat. And they've done studies before on body fat versus muscle tissue. And they've found that it's actually quite literally worse for you to lose muscle tissue from a metabolic standpoint. It's quite literally worse for you to lose muscle tissue than to lose body fat from a metabolic standpoint, just because how cellularly active muscle tissue really is. So moving on is that it's a primary fuel source. So what is a primary fuel source? It makes up 70 to 75% of your entire metabolism, right? Which is your BMR. This is where we focus. This is where me and all of our clients focus. And this is why we're seeing 5 times as much fat loss amongst the industry than any other program on the internet right now, because we understand where the focus should be. And then you have the thermic effect of food, 10 to 15%. And then going into actual satiety. So like complex carbs for healthy metabolism. So you do have 2 types of carbs. You have simple and complex carbs. And we're going to get into which one is primarily the best when it does come to your metabolism here in a second. But complex carbs promote digestion, but they also help with feeling full, right? Complex carbohydrates contain fiber, help you feel full and satisfied. This increased satiety can curb simple carb cravings and help manage energy intake. So when you opt in for a higher sugary foods, or like let's just say junk foods, for instance, because junk foods get categorized as carbohydrates, and I think that's the main problem. I don't think that like people understand that carbohydrates isn't the problem. The carbohydrates that you choose are. Because if we think about like what typical carbohydrates that are is like candy, donuts, that's what people think. When people say, hey, I'm going on a diet, I'm cutting all the bad foods out. What are the bad foods they're cutting out? Like primarily like higher glycemic carbohydrates that spike your blood sugar and make you hungry. And so a lot of people, even on my channel, is like, I can't eat carbohydrates. They spike my hunger. Well, what kind of carbohydrates are you eating? Like, be a little bit more in detail, right? Because my clients are eating almost 400 to 500 grams of carbohydrates a day and down 20 to 30, 40, 50 pounds. So appetite regulation, energy balance, by providing sustained energy and promoting fullness, complex carbs help by maintaining healthy energy balance, supporting overall metabolic health. So getting into like deeper levels, how the metabolism works, we know that the thermic effect of food is basically your digestion, right? And carbohydrates have a 3 times as thermic effect as fat. So carbohydrates influence digestion by providing the fuel. The process impacted how quickly other foods are digested. They're broken into glucose, primary fuel source, and some types of carbohydrates like fiber aid in the digestive process, right? So higher caloric burn, right? Higher caloric burn by just eating food. Keep that in mind. Just eating more food that has a higher thermic effect gives you a higher caloric burn, okay? Keep that in mind. And then metabolic boost. This increase in thermic effect of food means your body burns more calories for several hours after eating, which can help with weight management and fat loss, increase fullness, and reduce hunger hormones. What? I know, because a lot of people are like, no way, like carbohydrates promote hunger. Like they make me hungry. Like I mentioned, you're choosing the wrong type of carbohydrates. You know, reduce hunger levels of ghrelin and even like leptin, which is a satiety hormone, leading to a reduced appetite and overall less calorie consumption. So now that we know that basal metabolic rate and thermic effect of food are directly affected by carbohydrate ingestion, let's get into actually non-energy activity thermogenesis, for instance. So now we're talking about including almost 90 to 95% of your metabolism being correlated to carbohydrates. So carbohydrates don't directly improve NEAT because non-energy activity thermogenesis is the calories you burn psychologically with like just moving, fidgeting, XYZ. They provide essential energy need for fuel, the spontaneous physical activities that can constitute NEAT. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis is such as fidgeting, walking, or just standing. Sufficient energy from carbs allow your body to be more active through the day, which can increase caloric expenditure without requiring planned exercise. Absolutely amazing. So how carbohydrates fuel NEAT? They act as an energy source, sustained activity, reduced fatigue. So what basically they're saying is psychologically, when you have more energy and you have less fatigue from your body from carbohydrate ingestion, you're more likely to move more. Because the connection to NEAT is NEAT includes all the calories you burn through activities other than sleeping, eating, or planned exercise, such as walking, doing chores, or even typing. Me typing on my keyboard. The energy expended through NEAT is cumulative, meaning that small, trivial activities add up to a significant portion of your daily burn. Sufficient energy from carbohydrates can boost your willingness and capacity to engage in these small bursts of physical activity throughout the day, thereby increasing your overall NEAT. So, by eating carbohydrates, you psychologically burn more calories. So think about that. Basically, you increase your non-activity thermogenesis through carbohydrate intake by just having the energy to psychologically move more. It just gives you more energy to have bursts of energy, type, walk to the fridge and back, go get groceries for the wife, XYZ. So keep that in mind. It's like now my clients not only focus on BMR and raising basal metabolic rate, the calories you burn at rest, we are utilizing carbohydrates that burn more calories to digest, but we're also burning more calories psychologically without even thinking about it. That is why our clients are seeing the progress they are, because we're influencing 90 to 95% of your metabolism through non-energy activity thermogenesis, through basal metabolic rate, and through the thermic effect of food. So keep that in mind. We're influencing 90 to 95% of your metabolism. And where do other programs focus? On this, the 5 to 10% in your exercise activity. This is where most guys will stay stuck. They will keep going on and on and on and on doing cardio, eating less food, when we are simply targeting the correct spots of your metabolism. Keep that in mind. So moving on, what kind of carbohydrates are the best? So now that we know about digestion, we know about non-activity thermogenesis, we know about your BMR, how it correlates to carbohydrates. What carbohydrates are the best? This is one of probably the biggest questions that I do get. It's like, what carbohydrates should I eat? To be honest, it doesn't necessarily matter, but let me explain why. A calorie is a calorie. A calorie is a unit of measurement, okay? So, not all calories are the same, no. But when it comes down to macronutrients and macronutrient tracking, which we do as a program, you can eat what you want. So know how John said in his testimonial, he's like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. I don't have to restrict myself. That's because we give him the macronutrients. We tell him, hey, this is how many carbohydrates you need to eat amount-wise. He chooses the how much, the what kind. So he psychologically gets to choose what type of carbohydrates he eats. We just tell him how much. So that is what's most important, is the how much. How much in a 24-hour window. And let's talk about GI tract, and we're getting to 1 meal a day, all that good stuff. But what I want you to understand is that it doesn't necessarily matter what kind, it matters how much. Because when you track macronutrients specific to the gram, you can influence the way your body looks, you can influence hormone patterns, and you can influence a lot of health markers. We have clients in the program who we reverse borderline diabetes through carbohydrates and influencing energy pathways between protein, carbs, and fats. Because when you understand how macronutrients work, when you understand protein, carbs, and fats and how they correlate to your overall body composition, overall health, you can have not only sustainable weight loss because you're psychologically being able to choose what you want, but you can also have predictable mechanisms of influencing all these different things, because you're influencing blood sugar, you're influencing insulin, you're influencing cholesterol, all these good things as well. So doesn't matter what kind, how much. The caveat behind that statement is when it starts to affect digestion. Okay? So, if you're somebody who, wants to eat bread and your digestion's fine with eating bread, then that's fine. That doesn't matter, because what matters at the end of the day is how many carbohydrates are in that bread. If you're somebody who wants to eat or puts candy inside of their plan, or like the Rice Krispie treats, I know a lot of bodybuilders do. The Rice Krispie treats right before your workouts. If you want to do something like that, that's fine. You just have to understand how much. The one thing in the caveat is digestion, right? Because when you start to disrupt digestion, you start to disrupt metabolism. So digestion prepares the nutrients for food by use of the body, which while metabolism the border processes cells, converting those nutrients into energy. Digestion provides the necessary molecular components that metabolism then utilizes, with the healthy function of the digestive system supporting optimal nutrient absorption and, by extension, proper metabolic rate and function. So keep that in mind. Proper metabolic rate and function is a direct correlation of digestion. So think about it like this. Digestion is the preparation phase, breaking down food, absorbing the food, and waste elimination. And metabolism is the utilization phase. So energy production, cellular functions, and sequential dependency impact on metabolic rate. A healthy digestion, including a balanced gut microbiome, is essential for efficient nutrient absorption, which directly affects your body's ability to burn calories and store fat, thus influencing your metabolic rate. Digestion and metabolism are regulated by hormones like insulin, which helps cells use blood glucose for energy storage and play a crucial role in controlling metabolic processes. So, a lot of our clients who come in our program, when they ask us, like, what do they eat? Well, we're like, hey, what do you want to eat? Like, whatever you want to eat. We teach them how to eat what they want. How much more sustainable if, we choose how much, and then you choose what kind. Because, like, when you have the ability to have choices of your food intake, that's when it becomes very simple. Like John doesn't feel restricted. He's eating what he wants. We just tell him how much. So in our program, the one caveat behind that is that if our clients are, let's say, having digestive related issues, then we'll dive into the what kind. We'll dive into, okay, what kind of carbohydrates are we using? What kind of fiber? How much fiber? What is our water intake? Because digestion is the first correlated part when it does come to overall metabolism. And so if we're having digestive related issues because of a certain food, then we'll take it out. So with that being said, is like, what carbohydrates are the best for digestion? Because that's the next question, right? So it comes down to low GI foods and high GI carbohydrates, right? So basically the glycemic index. What the glycemic index is how quickly a carbohydrate is absorbed into the bloodstream, how quickly it is digested into the bloodstream. So let's go over to high glycemic foods first. So high glycemic foods break down quickly during digestion, releasing their glucose into the bloodstream at a fast rate. Influenced because of quick and significant increase in blood sugar. The fast blood sugar spike prompts pancreas to release more insulin, which can lead to a subsequent drop in glucose levels. And then examples of white bread. So first of all, I want to cover this. Insulin's not a bad hormone. You need insulin. Insulin acts as a key to put cellular energy inside for the ATP process. Insulin's not a bad hormone. Insulin's a good hormone because it helps put glucose in the correct spots. All right, so with insulin, everyone thinks that insulin's like such a bad thing. It's so bad. Well, if it was such a bad thing, why do bodybuilders take it? Like as a supplement? If insulin makes you fat, then why would bodybuilders take it as a supplement in the first place? Insulin promotes muscle growth. Keep that in mind. But if you have a mechanism of a high fat intake and you're having insulin spikes as well, then you're getting into trouble. That's where we get into metabolic gridlock, and your body doesn't know what energy source to utilize. Insulin's not a bad thing. Insulin regulation is good. You want your body to regulate insulin. What's bad is that people put themselves in a high fat, high carbohydrate diet, get the insulin response from high carbs, but they also have high fats in place, which just pad the calories and then add to an inadequate amount of actual, insulin regulation. And so that's the problem with insulin, is people don't know how much. And if people understood how much carbohydrates and fats and protein to eat, the world would be a completely different place. But anyways, high glycemic foods digest quickly. Low glycemic foods digest slowly. So this process, when results study in gradually increase in blood to blood, they result in smaller, more prolonged rise in glucose. Oats, apples, lentils, starchy vegetables. We'll get into what the kinds that you can actually utilize. But what we understand is that the factors influencing the glycemic index is high fiber foods, slow digesting, leading to more gradual rise in blood sugar and lower GI. Highly processed foods such as refined grains had fiber removed, which speeds up digestion and increases the GI. So like foods like candy, right, which have a super, super high glycemic index because they're just sugar. Sugar is a high glycemic food. So the reason why the popular sugar diet has gotten its popularity that you guys hear right now is because it's a high glycemic carbohydrate. And when you remove protein and you remove fats, then the body does not store any fats. Obviously, if you run into problems and complications with a low protein intake and loss of muscle tissue, and then hormone disruption within low fat intake. But what I'm trying to help you understand is that, the popular sugar diet gained its popularity because it's utilizing a higher glycemic carbohydrate and no other macronutrients. What we do, and we do something like the process is very, very similar to what we use, but we use a process of having a higher protein intake, a lower fat intake, but not low enough where you crash hormones. Because when you get in the fat intake, and what fats actually do is, like, if you get too low in fats, you will lower testosterone, lower hormone levels. So you need all those in place. But I digress. The GI foods, low GI foods, are like the foods with fiber, your oats, the ones that just digest slowly. Is that a bad carbohydrate? No, but like what we understand is like, are we having digest-related issues with this low GI food? If yes, then let's switch to high GI. So let's get into the 1 meal per day. All right, so I got a lot of people on my channel talking about, oh, I did OMAD, I lost all this weight. So OMAD, really what it is just a psychological effect of helping you eat less calories. It's not like a nutritional science. You're just eating less calories. So it can be tough on the digestive system is what I really want you guys to understand. Potentially cause bloating, constipation, digestive upset due to a large volume of food consumed at once. So people ask me all the time, how many times should I eat per day? What's the cadence? What's the frequency? To be honest, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, the how much matters. The what time and what kind doesn't. Where it does come into a caveat is if you have digest-related issues. So here's a perfect example. Client comes to us, he's eating 2 meals per day. Hey, like just having terrible digestion. Okay, cool. Let's cut that into 4 meals. Same calories, same amount. Let's just cut it into 4 so it's a little bit easier on your digestive process in your digestion to utilize. That's a perfect example. Well, with OMAD, you're just eating 1 meal per day. So think about how much stress that is on your digestive and GI tract to eat 1 meal per day. It can also lead to nutrient deficiencies if the single meal isn't carefully balanced and nutrient dense. So it's like, yes, it's nutrient deficiencies because you're not checking how much. This is just basically, time restricted eating. This is not calculating how much. While some people experience positive results, others find it too restrictive, and it's best to approach it slowly. So digestive discomfort, constipation, nutrient deficiencies, and gastrointestinal distress, okay? So let's get into some active takeaways and help you guys out today on this channel. So how much will probably depend on how much will primarily depend on where your current metabolism lies and how active you are. Let me explain. Guys who are on their feet a lot for work, we have to push a lot more carbohydrates on. Why? Because their non-energy activity thermogenesis is higher, they're sweating more, they're burning more calories. And so, you think of carbohydrates when you're thinking about energy as, like we had talked about, they're a primary energy source. So if you're somebody who, is on their feet a lot for work, you might need to get your carbohydrates up higher. We have a certain client, his name's Wayne, who does 100-mile bike rides a week in our program. He's on a higher carb diet than most people. Why? Because he's burning more calories. So it all depends on how many calories you're actually burning. So that is the part that it's hard for me on this channel to tell you guys, this is how many carbohydrates to eat. One, because I probably wouldn't do that just because I keep 90% of what I say on this channel for my actual clients in the program that we run. But also, it's like, it's hard for me to tell you guys exactly how many carbohydrates you eat because I don't know your life. I don't know what you do. I don't know how active you are, how many steps you are. All that stuff does matter. And like I said, at the end of the day, the how much does matter, okay? But what I can help you with is types of foods to eat, right? So what we focus on within our clients is higher glycemic carbohydrates. Why do bodybuilders eat jasmine rice? Because it's easy digesting, it's quick in acting and gets into the bloodstream quick, and it's low fat, right? It's because like the lower fat, less fiber it is, the higher GI it's going to be. So we don't like tell our clients, hey, don't utilize these carbohydrates. You have to eat jasmine rice. We don't care what they eat. If they come to us and say, hey, I need a better option for better digestion, what we're going to say is like, yeah, jasmine rice, right? It's the easiest to digest. But potatoes are a great thing. Like white potatoes, low fat, high carb. It's going to be a little bit more satiating because it's going to have a little bit more fiber. Rice cakes, honeys, sourdough English muffins, personal favorite. Sourdough English muffins is going to also have a lot of pro and prebiotics just with the fermentation in the bread. So it's really good as well. It's going to be pretty higher glycemic carbohydrate. Everything bagels, great. A little bit lower glycemic carbohydrate. Cereal. So you guys probably haven't even thought about this one, but Rice Krispies cereal. So like the Rice Krispies cereal that you find at the grocery store that has very low sugar and it's like very low fat. Like that's great source of a high glycemic carbohydrates that's easy and quick digesting. Quick oats, slower digesting, lower GI. Great for satiety, great for feeling full, can cause a little bit of digest-related issues. If not, then go for it. Cream of rice, personal favorite, been eating it for about 5 to 6 years. There's actually a stigma in our community. I've gotten every single one, almost 100. We have 195 guys, I think now, 180 to 195, I believe, as of yesterday. I've gotten them all on cream of rice because what cream of rice is, it's just rice broken down, and you can make it like almost like a porridge. Put some protein powder in that bad boy. It's a fan favorite in our community. Fruit, beautiful. One thing I will say with fruit as a careful is like fruit's great. It's a high glycemic carbohydrates, very good digestion. It's very organic. It's very good, but it will have fiber in it. And if you eat a shit ton at once and you eat a shit ton of fiber at once, it could stop you up. Okay, so fiber range should be right around 20 to 30 grams. So pineapple, banana, all amazing carbohydrates. And sometimes even like orange juice, right? And orange juice isn't going to be bad. So when we have clients get upwards of like 300 to 500 grams of carbohydrates a day, because it does happen, we'll tell them like, hey, try some orange juice, right? Because at the end of the day, it's the how much, right? It's not the what kind, it's the how much. Now, if we're having digestion-related issues, bringing this back in full circle, it's like, yeah, we will start to cut a little bit out. But that is how like we structure our plan, and that's how you see these guys just like absolutely shredded as all get out. And we primarily focus with guys 40 to 65 years old. We do have a few guys come in. Seth here, 28. He's actually down 57 pounds right here. But most of the guys that come to us are age 40 to 65. And yeah, like the process, it quite literally works, right? We've got guys down almost 100 pounds. We've got 57-year-old men looking absolutely crazy shredded. This is Dan, our Army Ranger we work with. Andrew, we have a chief firefighter. His name's Doug. He's actually competing in a bodybuilding show this weekend. We've got sales executives, business owners, all these guys, and they're all eating more carbohydrates per day. So if you're somebody who has been struggling to get lean and you want to get to a next level physique and you want to actually learn the correct ways to do it instead of starving and using another fad diet you found online, there'll be a link below for our program and a small little breakdown on what it is and how it works. And you know, we are one of the top upcoming online fitness programs on the internet as of right now. And, we're growing very, very quickly. And, you know, it's because of the processes we use. It's because our methodology and metabolic approach that really does set us apart from any other competition out there, as well as the support staff that we have and the expert level, industry leading coaches that we have as well. We have coaches that, are expertise in endocrinology, biology, exercise science. And if like you're somebody who wants to actually take it seriously and get to a next level physique predictably using this exact mechanism, we'll not only teach you how to do it so you don't have to come back to us ever again, but we will get you there. Our client success rate right now is 97.42% at a client satisfaction and overall client success rate. So like I said, if you're somebody who's struggling, you want to get lean, click that link below. We'll get you rocking and rolling. If not, you're just somebody who's stopping new on the channel. Hope you liked today's video. Got a lot more content you guys can go through. You're more than happy to go through all the content that we have on this channel, because the purpose of this whole channel is to help you make progress, realize that we know what the hell we're doing, and then eventually come back to us and join our program, because we're building a really damn good group of guys, and I would love for you to be a part of it. But I understand you want to do your due diligence on us, and I hope that due diligence does go well. But once you are ready, all these videos have a link in the description, and let's get you rocking and rolling, because you live one life, and each day that goes by is one day you're wasted towards getting to your dream physique. And nobody ever deserves to die without unlocking what their true potential is. So anyways, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time.